Alrighty, everybody. So I've decided instead of trying to put these tyres on, I'm going to try and make this tool, well, at least work out the mechanics of it and see if I can try and make it somehow. It's pretty basic, but I think if they're ever out in the road, they need to change a tyre or repair a puncture or something, they're going to need something, because me trying to do it levers and using that other thing was probably good, but if you probably got the right tool for the job, you know, once I work out the mechanics of it. So I'm going to draw on here. This isn't quite right out to full size, but it's close. Just going to draw this one here. The outside of it. Also I'm missing a little bit of top and bottom, but it's really quite now. On here. Just so I can work out the mechanics, if you know what I mean. Because obviously the levers aren't that long. They're a reasonable length. And the pivot point, now it's probably up here somewhere. And it's so when you pull this way, it pulls this up and over, so you can get the tyre off. And then if you push it back the other way, if you spread them out, it pulls the wheels apart so you can get this lined up so you get the pin in. I'm having problems down there because I can't get these wheels to come back together nicely and try and hold it, if you know what I mean. And there's obviously a couple little hopefully I don't get see down here. Yeah, that's great stuff. But down here on this thing, it looks like it's got like a little tabs that when you pull it down you can clip onto the rim and it'll hold. Obviously with no tyre on it or whatever, I'll have to try and work that out. But so when you try and expand it, you can hook it in, or if you pull it over, you can hook it on the other side to the top thing. It kind of shows in the drawings here how it works. And I pretty much understand it, but it looks like one lever might be shorter than the other. If you look on here, hopefully you can see that. Looks like one lever is shorter than the other. So you can pull it in and out. And I'm guessing there's probably like a coach bolt or something through the middle with a big wing nut on it, so it sort of expands out. And you can wind it into it, grabs the holes in the side, so you know it's in there nice and tight and it can't expand. And then you can use the mechanics of it. So yeah, I'm going to try and see if I can maybe replicate it somehow. I'll just draw where these holes pinpoint roughly. So it's got a short hole and a long hole. They all like that? Yeah, roughly. So it's the short side. So if I put the splitters in the wheel, it takes away. Yeah. So yeah, the split's here. One hole's in here, and the other hole's out here. So one's only like maybe an inch or so. Yeah, maybe an inch, and the other one's probably 2 inches. Is that what it is? And it's barely that. Might be 3/4 of an inch. Yeah, it's about 3/4 and about inch and 3/4 out from here. So obviously when you pull the short side up, it'll lever over first, if you know what I mean. It it's got a shorter pull. Yeah, when you pull it back and then it pushes it down. So I have no idea what that pivot point is, but just trying to look at this. This is where a bit of spatial freaking mechanics comes into the thing. Just trying to eyeball it, if you know what I mean. I'm guessing so it looks like this here might be maybe 2.5, 3 inches to the pivot, and this might be, so if we said 3 roughly, or somewhere about here, 3-ish, and I would have thought maybe a bit more the other side, which that would be. So actually push this back this way, but we might get out to 3.5. So we see maybe 2 3/4 ish, but a bit straighter. And that would put that out to 3.5. So it just gives it a bit more mechanical leverage to help lock that up, and then also gives you a little more leverage on this to pull it apart when you pull down, I'm guessing. This is a bit like building that top. You know, you just gotta look at it and try and work out by pictures and drawings how the fuck it works. Yeah. And it looks like it's only the long lever that's got the tab on it, that little lock tab. So that's the one that's going to do all the holding. Right, let's see if we can make a tire changer. Righty, so I've got it partly, well, I've got it, the two pieces formed. Unfortunately, one's not very square, but yeah, unfortunately, because I probably should have bent this one like I did this one. I only broke it part way in the press, and I had problems getting that to bend for a start off too. So yeah, I might be able to rejiggle it later. Maybe I might cut it and bend it and weld it up in the corner or something like that, but I don't want it to really break. But next time, Monday or maybe tomorrow, I might come down and try and just finish it to get it to work. Maybe, we'll see. Because I need to shave these down a little bit because they're too big to fit in the holes, but I did that on purpose. I wanted it to be slightly oversized. I'll need to tweak these just slightly past 90 because I want them to try and hook in there a bit. So I just want to shave these down. I'm not going to have to shave them down a lot, and then we'll probably have to just nick them off a bit shorter, if you know what I mean. So they hook in there. We'll see. I might not have to. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. I might have to might shorten them up a little bit, a quarter of an inch or something like that. We'll see. And weld. I would have liked some heavier washers, but we'll see. We'll see how these work. Weld these on here at the pivot point. Obviously one on each side, and we'll stagger them so they fit together. Like that at the pivot point. One will be on one side, one will be on the other, sort of type thing, and then I would definitely need a bigger bolt. So then we can, turn a nut into a wing nut, so we can wind it in. And probably what I should do is probably weld the head to one of the washers maybe, so that can't turn. So you just undo that and do it back up, so it grabs in the wheel. And be done with it, so I might have to shave them all staggered. But yeah, and then we'll see if it works. What this thing does, the only other thing we're going to make is the little clip for the lock to hook onto the wheel. But I'll make that once I've sort of got this situated. So we might mock it up first. We might have to mock it up and then just tack one of these on so we can slip a washer past it and then weld it on properly. Or not weld a washer on, but weld a thing to hook on. So yeah, that's kind of how far we got. I did make roughly. I quickly made that up just so that it didn't run away on me quite so easy. Just out of some scrap. Anyway, yeah, so it'll be Monday when we put these wheels and tyres on. I was hoping to do it today, but yeah, that must have bumped the button there. Yeah, so yeah, it'll be Monday when I was hoping to do it today, but they were just a bitch fight, and I broke that tool of Dad's, so probably have to get that, trying to get that repaired too at some point. But yeah, it's just a complete bitch to get these back to where they need to be to put the pins in. So I can get one side hooked and flat against each other, but then the other one will pop over, and you try and get that one back, the other one will pop over. So yeah, I think if you've got a tool like that, if I can get it dialed into work properly, it should be easy-ish, as long as I've got my ratios right here. We might have to maybe tack it on and sort of weld it on and maybe play with this ratio a little bit. So, it's one slightly shorter than the other. I don't think it has to be far up. I can't imagine it being far up. It looks like it's fairly low in. And I was roughly guesstimating with these lengths, because I think if it was too long, you'll never pull it far enough. But I think if it's too short, you would never be able to pull it, if you know what I mean. It'll make it very awkward to pull and lock over. So, yeah. Alrighty, we'll carry on. Right, Morning guys, so welcome back to NZ Motor Customs. So let's make a split rim removal, well, collapsing and spreading tool, I guess you'd call it. So we can put these tyres on and off. So since on Saturday we had a bit of a battle and I started making the tool, but yeah, wasn't fun trying to get it on with the way that the wheel was. I thought it wouldn't be too bad to get back out, but a bit of a bitch apparently. So we will carry on making it and see if we can get some tyres on maybe this afternoon, or a little bit later on this morning maybe. Well, I think I got this finished now. The first bit of a nut was down there. So unfortunately what happened was I had a wee spacer in the bottom of it, but when I welded it around, it actually pushed the weld in. I'll just pick it up so I can show you. So what happened was, I had the spacer because I cut it off in the end, but what happened was when I welded it together, you end up with weld in between, sort of like the thread. Well, not in between the thread, but it was just in the way of the thread. So I gave up and cut it off, and put 2 nuts together, and then carried on with what I was making originally. So yeah, that works. I think that's going to work good. So we'll try and get a tire on, and then we'll see how we get on. I might see if I can get that other one lined up first, but you'll see if we can get a tire on this. But it's about freaking, it's not quite 11:30, but it's close. So it's taking me freaking most of the morning to sort this out. Alright, let's see if this thing works in the real world. You know what I mean? Alrighty, so to get the pin in, it says the short handle, you put your foot on it and push it back towards the rim, and it should force that tire out into a position, and then you should be able to put the pin in, as long as obviously all the little things line up. So we'll try that. We'll get a handle on it eventually. By the time I'm done 4, I'll probably be good at it, and I'll better show somebody else. Oh. I think I might try a different wheel after lunch. Get another 7, put another tire on, and see if we need more luck with some of the other rims, maybe. Well, there's one with a pin in it. Rim still doesn't line up very well, but it probably will line up better once it's on the actual wheel. I guess it'll push it into shape, but it's on there. Pins in it, tubes in it. I hope it still holds here. Alrighty, so I've got these back ones on, like I said before, and I've tried and tried and tried to get the smaller front ones on, to get the rim to push that way. I've been looking at this, looking and reading. I actually dropped the pivot point of the long one down a little bit to try and get that bar to kick out. I've just been looking at this. If this piece here, if this is a picture of it, basically when you're putting the pin in the wheel, that bar is going to be way down here. So the only thing I can think of is maybe I've got that bar on the wrong side of the pivot point. It's the only thing I can think of, because you're meant to be able to put your foot on it and push it down, and that would basically force it down and kind of push that bar away at the same time, if you know what I mean, to try and get it to push that way. So yeah, might have another go in the morning, and because I want this thing to be able to work, because obviously if somebody's out on the side of the road, it's going to have these same size tyres as these ones, so it's probably not going to be quite so difficult. But for some reason, these are 525s, but for some reason those, what are they, 450s or whatever they are, just for some reason just seem to be way tighter to push that, leave that bead over, or leave that rim back. That one's close, and the other one's miles away. But I do know that the tube keeps trying to creep around the edge of the bead. Well, not the tube, the liner, so it's not helping. But I think if the mechanics of this were right, like it's kind of right, but it's not right. Like to pull that way, it works fine, but to push the other way, it just doesn't want to work. So yeah, I think I've got that rod the wrong way around. So I think what I need to do is actually bring that pivot point back up a bit on the long rod and put the short rod back on the other side. Maybe, and possibly shorten it a little bit, just to make it work. I'll have to have another, because those drawings are so small, it doesn't really explain it very well, but if you hold it in nice and close, it kind of looks like that pivot point is on the underside, not the overside. So the pivot point is right for this one. Here, you can see like a big fat finger there. Pivot point for the long one is on the right side, but I think the pivot point for the short one is on the wrong side. So it needs to be reversed. I think that's what the problem is. I think if I do change it around a little bit and try it again tomorrow, it's a fucking pain in the ass to have to take a day and a half to try and put 4 fucking tyres on these weird rims, but when you don't have the gear to do it properly, I think you'd even struggle with a modern tyre changer. I reckon if you had it so it expanded on the inside, it would probably may force it out. If you put it on like a modern strip off changer, you put the clamps on the inside, it may force it out. But I don't know if you had the 4 legs in the right place, instead of grabbing this side of the wheel. For you guys that know about tyre changing, instead of grabbing that side of the wheel, grab on the inside, so it forces that wheel out. And you might be able to manipulate it, if you know what I mean, with a bit of leverage. But yeah, I think that's what my problem is. Yeah, just studying this and looking and studying and trying to work it out, and looking at the position of that lever when the guy's got his foot on there in the drawing. It's just, yeah. Yes, I've just been thinking and sitting there thinking, and it's like, why the fuck won't this thing work? Like I said, it pulls over fine to take a tyre off, or to collapse the wheel in to get the tyre on, but to get that last piece of the rim right, yeah, it's just not right. So yeah, we'll change it in the morning. I'm absolutely knackered from just fighting with this thing, trying to work out why it won't go. Right, morning guys, welcome back again. So I'm doing a few alterations. I just pulled that short side out and flipped it over. And how do we look? And I'm pretty sure it's going to work, but I'm going to fix just a few little mechanical issues. Right, I'll turn the camera around. So one, I squared this up a bit better, and I obviously put a square line off this edge. I think this edge is reasonably square off. Pretty sure this was the natural edge off this bit of board. I can't remember exactly, but
It'll be reasonably straight. So I run a couple of square lines with just that square, one for the here, one for the end of this, so I go, and then I'll put one on the pivot point. It's reasonable now, but this here was probably about that much too long, so I've shortened it up. I didn't really want to cut it and weld it, but I kind of didn't have any choice. I think it should be still okay. Hopefully it doesn't break. If I get a good weld around there and then grind it down, it should be okay, I think. And then I may take a small chunk out of the centre and then join it together. And I have contemplating of just shortening it about 1 inch, just to have a little bit more mechanical leverage into the rim when it's flipped, when that piece is flipped over the other way, just so it can go a wee bit deeper into that wheel on the short side, and I think it will work. So I was having to play with this, but I think these here are sort of bent round and they're catching, but when I was playing with it, it was kind of working. So I think if I fix the few little mechanical issues, we're right. And then I'll do the same with this too, because I think I got it reasonably square, but I'll just double check it, if you know what I mean. But I think what I want to do is make this narrower so it's inside it, and then I might have to probably build up this end a bit, put a bit of weld in here and build it up. I didn't really want to have to do that. Make it a bit longer, or maybe I've got a bit of this bar left, maybe I could weld it on a small section on the end of it, or something like that, if you know what I mean. We'll just see. To make it work properly. Yeah. Unfortunately, I didn't look quite hard enough at the photos when I first started building it. I thought I had it around the right way, but I didn't. So I'll put this on the inside, so I might have to file a square into one of these and make it work properly. Yeah, we'll have a bit more of a play around with it. We'll get it right. We'll get it so at least it works anyway. And we don't have too many more issues with these. And then we can get to work. I don't want to spend too long on. If I can spend an hour getting this dialed in and it works, I'll be happy, if you know what I mean. Alrighty, so I shortened up and narrowed it. Next thing it pisses me off was fucking still got this longer. I don't know why. Now, I think my pivot point's about the same point. Probably just line it up with that line there that I drew to. Yeah, I think the pivot point's about the same point, but for some reason it's still bloody longer, even after I cut it and welded it. put it back together and see how it works, but yeah, I might have to freaking cut it and shorten it again. Pain in the ass. I don't know how I've managed to. It's almost like I've got it twisted or something, or I don't know. Or whether it's just still bloody longer. I didn't think it was that bad before I cut it, but maybe now that I've sort of got it a bit more squared up, yeah. Who knows?
Cut that pretty quick, pretty fast. Alrighty, I've been doing some pretty, wouldn't say serious fab work, but I've done a bit of alterations. This is the long one. I'm shifting the points back to kind of where it was originally. Now that I think I've got the shorter one fabbed up about where I want it. Let's try and show you here. So I've cleaned this one up, obviously shortened it, slightly narrowed it. I don't think I did much to this end except for get these even. I cut and routed this and moved it up a little bit because I just too hard to straighten out and rebend, if you know what I mean. But played with it and got it pretty much where I want it now, I think. So now I've just I lengthened this one, and it was a little bit long. Like these are a little bit long now, so I've actually got it so this one here fits inside like the real tool, I guess you'd call it, when it comes with the car. So I just had to shorten it up a little bit because these sat out quite a long way from these. And when I had the pivot points of these down lower on here, I couldn't get the bolt back through because we kept hitting this. So I think if it's just slightly higher again, like that, bring it up a little bit, I'll get the pin through. I think what we'll do is we'll move this up here like this a little bit. In theory, if I weld that one there, if I move that on there, weld that on there, little something like that, and then we should be able to spread this hopefully with maybe putting my foot on here and just holding one hand on here, and that should force us out. But also that will still give us plenty of leverage to pull this back over and hopefully clip this back on here. Back on here, back on there, because it will not be on this side. So yeah, I think I'm getting there. That's the other thing too. I've just cut this down to a 2-inch. And it was, I'd used it a bit there before. So basically, yeah, almost down to a perfect 2-inch now. So that's cool. And it's still got plenty of grit on it. It's not horrendously sharp, but yeah. Well, it's almost fresh 2-inch. There's Larry. It's down a little bit, but you know what I mean? Like, so that's from the 3-inch. So just finally trimmed that first one down from that. So it's a little bit under 2 inches. 1 7/8 maybe. Yeah, but yeah. So yeah, I've got to put a new one of these on here. So yeah, I've hammered the shit out of that for about 10 days. So I just finally changed before. Don't like just cleaning up and grinding and whatever, and modifications on this, chopping and changing. So it's been good. They last well. Right, so you've got that all butt in there. It's just not quite through this one side. And as you can see, it's like the rims are half twisted too, which I don't think's helping the situation. I'll get that through later on. I just fucking drives me nuts. As you can probably see. At least the pin's in there, and it's slightly overlapping on the side of it. It's obviously, it's tweaked. You know, at some time it's probably got twisted, and you know, I guess that's the reason why we don't do wheels like this anymore. You know, they're probably right when they're brand new, and they're fine, and they're, you know, rolled right, and everything's in the right place, if you know what I mean. But when it's not right, it's a pain in the fucking ass. Yeah, and it just doesn't want to go in there. And these things are very flimsy, like, it's a bit of a strange idea, I guess. There would be better ideas out there, I'd imagine, but yeah. Anyway, it's lunchtime. I just took a little. I've set this like that, and I've kind of made sure that these here are kind of in line, like a little bit inside. So hopefully these will work. I think it's about the right proportions. I don't bloody know, you know what I mean? Like it works. It does work. At least I can actually spread the wheels now. So after lunch, I'll have a go with this other horrible fucking wheel over here. I'll turn the lights off as I'm going and talk to you. So I don't have to come back and turn them off. Here we go for lunch. Yeah, so we'll have a go at this other wheel that's been a real pain in the ass. We'll see if this thing works after lunch. And see if we can fight with this real bad one that's I can't get in. I'll have to have a double check of that rust band inside, make sure it's not getting jammed up between the rim and the tyre again as well. But yeah, that kind of looks like the thing now. It's got quite a big step difference in those, so yeah, we've got it around the mechanics around the right way, so we can only try. See if we can get this one close together, and then like they aren't going to be driven far, it's just for testing, so we just want to get them on, basically, as long as they're in there reasonably safe. Now once it's locked onto the rim, onto the, I suppose, the centre of the wheel, with those cleats and jammed up with that band, but you know, it's got to be, still got to be on there fairly safely, if you know what I mean. And the these bands, when all the cleats come up against them and all that sort of stuff, it should push everything in the right place. So there's obviously a valve hole here. So the split is going to be somewhere up about here, which is right on a bolt hole, I think, by the looks of that. Where are we? Yeah, it looks like it's going to be somewhere in this region, so with one of those cleats is going to be fairly well pushing on that. So anything that's not quite lined up, the cleat and the wedge band should straighten it up, in theory. So yeah, we'll find out after lunch. Yeah, we'll call that a win-ish. What a fucking fight. What a fight. Glad I don't have to change those things very often.
Yoo-hoo! And it took 2.5 fucking days to get one completed. What a son of a bitch. These things are... I think if you've been doing them all the time way back in the day, it probably wouldn't be quite so bad, but because you'd have the knack to do it, and you'd know all the ins and outs and all that sort of bullshit. I had a fairly good idea how they would work, but God, just not having the proper tools to do it. Yeah, and I've never really done this split rim type like I've said. Like I've done the ones where where it's a single piece wheel and then you got the outer ring off, split ring. Even the like 2-piece split ring or the solid outer ring, but like some of the Fords, trucks and stuff had where they had the skinny piece on the edge, so once you actually got it down and broken, you could actually slip part of it down and it would come out past the edge of the rim through that skinny piece. And you could slide the outer ring off. I've done them before too, but I haven't really tackled these things before. Like I've done similar sort of things, but just not quite of this age, if you know what I mean. Like I've even done big forklift wheels that have had a wedge band a bit like this. Like this is what I guess you would call it, a wedge band. Because it's so small, it's very easy to slip into the wrong place. Whereas a lot of the big forklift ones that I used to do were like, we're talking this wide or deep, and they had like a big edge on them, and they couldn't go past the edge of the rim or the centre or the wheel rim. Basically, you push them in there, and then a lot of the time you might have had to beat it in to get it rough into position, and then you'd go around and it didn't have anything from say 6 nuts on them if they're a small one to, I think, were they 28 or something like that. Big frickin' nuts with a cleat a bit like that. They'd have just a whole lot of them. You would have seen them around some of those big container lifts and stuff like that. Or they just have a big mass of them. Like they have a similar sort of thing, but it's it could be anywhere from sort of 6 inches deep to 12, maybe a foot deep, and it's got a big thick edge on it, and these pieces push in against it and jam it in, and you got to go around and do them up evenly in a big star pattern until you get them pulled up, and then you start going round until eventually they pull tight. You probably go around them 3 or 4 times. You actually go around and torque them up to they used to be 250 foot-pounds, or depends on the wheel obviously, but yeah, you'd go around about 5 times before you'd actually stop pulling them up, and they'd actually just they'd break back off. The big torque wrench would break off straight away. You go around about 5 times before they'd actually click off completely. You'd go back around on itself, and yeah, they would all do up. So yeah, but I haven't done like a wooden wheel like this before. So yeah, that was fun. But I think if I sit them on this, that's what I was looking for earlier on. You would have seen me, because it would be high speed. I was looking for like something a bit smaller than this, like a little bit lower. Not so much lower, but a bit smaller in diameter that I could have set this up on. Just to have the wheel on, and then the weight of the rim would sit down so it couldn't, this couldn't get jammed in behind it. But yeah, I thought I had it good enough when I had it up in here, but then it just kept falling in. I was like, I eventually gave up and used the rubbish bin. But yeah, what a fucking pain in the ass. I think by the time I've done it 2 or 3 times, I'll probably be good at it, but yeah, I don't want to do it too many times. 2 down, see? 1 there, 1 there. Both front ones. We'll see if we can get a back one together before we go home. Maybe both. I'm starting to get a knack for definitely a lot easier on that bucket. Just a fucking pain in the ass being bent down like that all the time. I'm getting too old for that shit. But sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do.
Up there was okay, but it was a pain in the ass because if you dropped the bolt, it went down inside the bucket. But we'll carry on until we get these other ones done. At least we might get some. Might actually get some wheels in the fucking car tomorrow. Like I thought I might have Monday when I started this escapade. I didn't think it was going to take me freaking. I thought I was blow them all on Saturday and clip the wheels, and then I'll put this on Monday. I knew they were a bit of a battle, but I didn't realise I was going to have to create the Titanic to make them fit. Righty, we'll carry on. Yeah, righty. So that's this video. I think I'll try and jam this all into video I've been doing. We'll see. Might go back and hard edit it a bit more, but yeah, we got them on. Quite a bit of pissing around with that tyre changer. I might straighten it out and maybe strengthen it up a little bit in a couple of places, just so it can be used on the road. See what I can do. I've got a bit of thinner rod that I might just weld down the long side. Weld a bit of that thinner rod up each side just to maybe give it a wee bit more strength, maybe. We'll see. Or something, just to beef it up a little bit, because I've welded it, cut it off and shifted it and cut it off and shifted it. It's probably just lost a bit of its tensile strength. But yeah, I think that'll do. We'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe and all those sorts of things. Much appreciated. This weekend too is I wouldn't say it's a car show, but it's a car run, and they normally have a really good gathering here at one of the local stops, which is just up the road from home. So there'll be a video of that coming out early next week. So there'll be quite a good gathering of cars here as long as the weather's good. Yeah, it should be a pretty good gathering, so I'm hoping to get along and get a good video of that. I was hoping I might have been able to go and follow them around a little bit, but I just don't know if my freaking modern car is going to be sorted by then completely. I was hoping it was going to be. It should be partly, but fucking pair of steering. We won't go into that, but yeah, been a bit of a battle, but hopefully we're on top of it tonight. Anyway, we'll catch you later on. Cheers. Done.